So recently, it's been kind of a discussion on the Animal Jam community of rares coming back to stores. So Animal Jam re-releasing items that are rare in the game and are worth, a little bit of change, to say the least. Them just putting it into stores without kind of regard for players that might own these items. And obviously, a lot of players, they don't really like that. Kind of recently in the game, we saw the re-release of the toilet, which was a few-of-a-kind item, extremely rare. It was regarded as the rarest den item in the game for many years in a row, especially in those top 10 rarest den item videos I used to make. You're a real one if you remember those. And mainly what kind of sparked this video idea, them actually re-releasing a music track item that was rare. Now personally, I didn't even know this was rare. I'm not gonna lie. Personally, for me, I just buy one of every item that comes out, and then if it gets re-released, it's like, oh, okay, that's back in stores. But these were kind of re-released, the Hidden Falls here and the Forgotten Desert as well, as part of World Music Day, or Make Music Day on Animal Jam Classic, where they introduced some new soundtracks as den items, as well as returned some of the old ones that haven't been in the stores for a while. For example, here, the Hidden Falls and the Forgotten Desert, which unfortunately were worth a little bit of something before they came out, which you guys were quick to point out in my YouTube short and my TikTok comment section that Animal Jam, they just kind of re-released this despite it having some kind of value to it. And while I wanted to make this video for a while, I thought, yeah, now is probably the right time, given that people are complaining about this. It's kind of a hot topic. So we're going to be talking about items that were previously rare but got put into stores. So rare items that were put into stores by Animal Jam themselves. But if you want an item that was previously in stores and became rare, make sure to check out this light pink headdress giveaway. All you gotta do, subscribe with notifications on, set to all. Like the video and drop a comment down below with your username, and extra entries can be found in the description below. Okay, enjoy the video. Bye bye. Now I'm gonna preface this video. I have made two kind of similar videos to this in the past. One being the items that became rare video, so items that were previously in stores that were not rare, obviously when they were in stores, and then they just kind of gained value over times. You're probably not gonna see any items that were in that video in this one, unless they got re-released and then managed to get rare again. You'll see some items that were mentioned in my video titled items that used to be rare in Animal Jam Classic that I posted a few years ago, because Animal Jam has done this a lot with a lot of items. Okay, so in the intro to the video, I kind of talked about the recent examples. With the Atlantis party, they re-released the toilet, and recently with the music, they re-released as well. They actually re-released some rare items in Play Wild Party a few years ago as well. Oddly enough, one of them was a music item as well, which was a promo item. You used to have to pay to get that item. It was in a redeem code alongside an item you had to buy, and that was the Play Wild music, I'm pretty sure, or the Club Geo's music, I'm pretty sure it was. They just kind of dropped that in the party, and that was actually a pretty decently worth an item, I'm pretty sure. Just kind of went poof, the value, just like every item that's going to be mentioned in this video, actually. And I'm pretty sure the rocker item set that was a part of a Old Wild Weekend, I believe it was, they re-released it into those stores as well for that. And oddly enough, I think it was also for Make Music Day just a few years ago. I do remember making a video on it back when that actually happened. I'll put footage on it, of course, on screen, but when that actually happened. But it's kind of odd that they've taken World Music Day to re-release 3 different rare items at certain points in the game. Now, the next few examples here, I'm going to be trying to go in order of when they actually happened. So by the years they actually happened, of course. First of all, we're going to be talking about top hats. Now, this was actually mentioned in the video of items that used to be rare, because they were obscenely rare in the game. They were considered some of the rarest, if not the rarest items in the game. Some of the variants were considered to be the rarest items in the game. Most notably, the solid color top hats were usually the rarest out of the bunch. And Animal Jam just kind of threw them in stores for a Hatapalooza event. This was an event where a bunch of old hats that weren't in stores for a while just kind of were put back into store, and you could buy them around the game. These stores were usually hidden around the game in like Canyon's Pathway, for example. I'm pretty sure one was in like Serapia Forest. I was way back in 2012, and it occurred again, I think in 2016, where you guessed it, I'm pretty sure in that 4-year period, top hats were like starting to gain worth again, and Animal Jam just kind of, they nipped it in the bud right again. I think in 2012 though, this was kind of the most dire thing to happen, because trading was just a year of being into the game after being added in 2011, and the economy of the game was just starting to form, and Animal Jam just kind of put one of the rarest items in the stores, so it turned a lot of heads, and even people considered leaving the game or quitting the game at the time. Every time this has happened, by the way, people consider quitting the game, but this was definitely one of the worst examples of this happening. Alongside with this example, this little building here caused a lot of issues when it came out. Most notably, it did return, the Arctic wolf, the snow leopard, and the lion, which were animals you could only get from actual gift cards at the time. Figured I'd mention that here. A lot of people took issue with that when it happened, but most notably the items here. One of them here, the lava glove, you can see, but also stuff like the legendary glove and, the mummy glove, the elf tail armors, pretty much any item that used to be a monthly member gift that actually gained worth after the month of it being a gift ended, pretty much. Especially with the gloves and the tail armors, those started to get a lot of worth and were kind of sought after when the period ended for their availability in the monthly member gifts as well. This wasn't as bad in terms of den items. I think Phantom Invasion was the only den item that this affected initially when the diamond shop was first introduced, so kind of sucks for this, but also the hot cocoa machine actually as well. But otherwise, items like the clouds and the epic lion plushie, for some reason they just made duplicate versions of them and gave the original ones rare tags, which I feel like I could make a video in itself of duplicate items in the game, so let me know if you guys want to see that. Yeah, this whole shop in general was just a room of controversy essentially back when it was added. On one side of the coin, people were happy because a lot of people didn't have these items or weren't able to get certain membership cards or whatever. I know myself over here where I live, membership cards with animal jam codes, they weren't a thing. I had to only buy membership online. But on the other side of the coin, a lot of people that had these items and, the animals, they suffered essentially because it was probably a vast majority of players that were missing out on these things rather than actually getting to have these things. I figured I'd mention here in the diamond shop as well, because we're already in here, the river race den item. This was also considered to be one of the rarest den items in the game at the time before the toilet actually got released, I'm pretty sure. This was a pretty sought after den item, and I don't even know why Animal Jam just kind of randomly released it into the diamond shop one day, but I'm pretty sure the only way you can play this minigame is through this den item, so I'm not too sure why they took it out of, the Soul Arcade and being able to play at the bottom of Jamal Township and even in stores in the first place, because it used to be sold at the top of the Timber of Knowledge. It used to be sold here amongst all these other statues, so I don't know. And now that I'm reminding myself as well, there's been a few times in like membership bundles where Animal Jam's kind of re-released items that might have been worth a bit. I think the Rose Bush was worth something, as well as the Heart Garden, I think it is. I always love those garden item sets. I forget what it's called exactly, but I'll throw it on screen. I think it's Royal Garden. Pretty sure that item was worth a glitched ring back in the day, and they just put it in a membership bundle. Really, really odd, but I guess Animal Jam doesn't really realize how many items in this game are worth a bunch of things until you see people cry about it being in stores. But the next instance I would say is kind of comparable to when top hats got introduced into the store, because this is also a hat item that was very rare. It wasn't the rarest in the game, but if I had to compare it to an item now, I would compare it to headdresses in terms of popularity. Fox hats were the headdress of like 2012, I guess. Everybody wanted a fox hat for some reason, whether they were member or non-member. It wasn't even just popular because, you could wear it as a non-member. These were extremely sought after, and they were originally a rare item Monday, or I think they were anyway, when they were in stores, and they got the rare tag at a later point, and they returned them to stores as a rare item Monday at a later date. So I think it's probably one of only few rare item Mondays that got added to the game and then were used again for another rare item Monday on a different week or different day a year later, because I'm pretty sure that they were available in the beta, then they got introduced for a rare item Monday into stores in 2012, and then again in 2013 for another rare item Monday. So people definitely lost the plot when Animal Jam did this, which I have to say at this point they definitely knew that fox hats were rare at this point, so they did this knowingly. I can confidently say that, because there's no way that they didn't know, because every child on the game wanted it, and maybe that's the reason why they did it. But stunts like this, it really damaged Animal Jam's reputation, given that they kept adding some of the most popular and rarest items into stores without concern of how it's going to affect, the kind of just growing economy in the game. And they did the same thing again with gazelle horns. Pretty sure the white gazelles were considered the rarest item in the game at some point. These were originally like one of a kind because somebody from way back in the day in 2013 got given them by Animal Jam HQ alongside some other variants. Pretty sure it was like orange as well, and maybe green. I think it was Peppy the Papster that got given this, as well as like an orange beard and, unreleased versions of the Mech Angel helmet at the time, because these weren't available in stores or anywhere actually at the time. Even in beta, they weren't in the game. I digress though. When gazelle horns returned to stores, they were still a little bit rare, but mostly what did their their worth in was the Forgotten Desert and the introduction of that. When they were put into the Forgotten Desert prize pool, that's when they took a lot of damage in their worth, but it kind of solidified it, obviously, that they were worth nothing now when Animal Jam put them into stores. And this is definitely one of the biggest examples of people not checking stores often, because I think probably thousands of people got scammed when gazelle horns were put back into stores because they didn't realize. And I guess another item kind of rare in that period of time when gazelles were rare was also rhino helmets. They kind of lost a lot of value over the years because of the Forgotten Desert as well, and people just kind of didn't want them anymore in recent years. Animal Jam just added them to stores like I think last year, so they're just not like clothing beta anymore. I don't even know if people considered them to be clothing beta still. They were like that unwanted, but I figured I'd mention it here because I remember back in the day wanting a yellow rhino helmet because they were obscenely rare. Bet none of you remember that. And the next example here, we're going to be talking about this store here. I'm sure this brings back a lot of memories for a lot of people. This is probably a lot of people's first little run-in with Animal Jam releasing their rares in the stores. And thank God Animal Jam fixed the party feature just for this video, because I'm not buying membership on this account just to make a party to visit this store. But yeah, a lot of these items here were dead betas. Most notably the fire pit, rosebush, I'm pretty sure was pretty rare, bongo drums, as well as the fountain, and I think even the pottery wheel. Probably not as rare as the other ones, but same with the fire pot. These 4 items notably were pretty wanted in terms of den betas. I think the rosebush was rarer than the other 3, but yeah, Animal Jam just kind of put them in the stores when they dropped the party feature, and a lot of people were excited about the party feature, and they turned it into rage when they realized den betas were in stores. And I'm pretty sure a few months later, they put the basketball into Jam Art Furniture as well. So I figured I'd mention that here, given that that was also a den beta previously. And the last example we'll talk about here is just uncommons in general. I could choose about 50 million examples of uncommons being released into stores again after being taken out the first time. The last time that comes to memory that affected me personally was when they re-released candy cane ornaments, which, I mean, why wouldn't they? It's kind of stupid that they were rare in the first place, in all honesty, but it was a pain that they re-released them, given they were worth like a good bit when they did get re-released, and it was unfortunate, to say the least. But yeah, I'm sure many of you can probably think of other examples of uncommons being re-released, and tell me in the comments below. And if I missed an example that you think should have been mentioned in the video, you can definitely tell me in the comments. Heart your comment and whatnot, and we'll have a little discussion about times Animal Jam has done this wrong. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up here. Big thank you to the members of the channel. As always, it does help out a lot. Your support does go a long way, of course. It is greatly appreciated, all you beautiful people on screen right now. If you're interested in joining as a channel member, all you gotta do is hit the join button down below next to the subscribe button, which you should have already pressed. You get exclusive content and other features if you do join as a gift back, just from me personally, but just an extra way if you want to support the channel. And yeah, let's go wrap it up here. My biggest fear that keeps me awake at night is Animal Jam just re-releasing all of the uncommons that I've collected over the years just into stores randomly on a Tuesday. So pray to God that it doesn't happen. And my heart does go out to anybody affected in the recent re-release of the Hidden Falls and Forgotten Desert, but hey, we'll get through it, man. We'll get through it.